Alrighty, welcome back everybody. Welcome to another video. We have quite a lot to talk about. I am going to be doing another power ranking video. And after the last video I made, I kind of have a little more of an idea what I'm doing here on how I'm going to format this. And there's just a lot to talk about. The Bills and the Rams played last night. I gotta say it was a bit of a disappointing game. Some things have definitely moved around in my power rankings. The Rams definitely no longer sit at number 2 for me. I have moved them down to number 6. And I truly do not believe that's an overreaction. Their defense was amazing, but I'm not going to get too deep into it. I'm making another video. It should be coming out around the same time as this one, so if you want to check that out, go ahead. But yeah, I moved them down to 6 and everybody else has moved up, so now the Broncos sit at number 2. And yeah, we're just going to dive right into who now sits at number 3 for me, which is the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, Cincinnati, I don't have really too much to say about them. Not a lot changed for them this offseason. They're coming off of a Super Bowl appearance that nobody thought they would achieve. To be completely honest, they did lose, and there was a point in that game where it was their game to lose. They were up, and the Rams ended up coming back and scoring late to take the win out from underneath them. And honestly, it's a big reason to why they lost. The Bengals played that whole postseason with nothing to lose. It was their first playoff win in a very, very long time. And I have to say, they exceeded everybody's expectations, made it all the way to the Super Bowl, and they even beat the Chiefs on their way, which was a surprising win. But the moment they were up late in the fourth quarter, and it became their game to lose, the Rams took it out from underneath them and won. And now they're going to be back this season. Joe Burrow is a fantastic quarterback. I mean, dude's elite. Dude's literally he's played one full season and he's probably top 5 quarterback in this league, if not top 10. The dude is elite at recognizing blitzes, doesn't really take bad sacks. He played with a horrible offensive line last year, and look at what he did. Jamar Chase, his buddy from college, came out the gates as a rookie, and honestly, I mean, between him and Jalen Waddle, those were really, they came out and were 2 of the top receivers in the whole league. You don't really see guys that talented who come out in their rookie year and step up the way that these guys did. And a lot of people were giving Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase comparisons to Jerry Rice and Joe Montana, which I thought was funny. I mean, hey, it's their first year playing together, and they looked pretty damn good. So there's a lot to be excited about in their second year. And now Joe Burrow actually has a chance to rely on his offensive line, so things are only going to get better on the offensive side of the football for them. They completely rebuilt their O-line, and it's good now. They can say that they have a very good offensive line, especially for somebody like Joe Burrow, who is very elite at discovering blitzes, recognizing them, and calling them out. So I'm very excited for Bengals fans this year and the offense they're going to get to see out on the field. I do have to say, though, that's kind of where their offseason cut off. They didn't do a whole lot more than improve their offensive line. Their defense last year wasn't perfect throughout the regular season. I wouldn't say they were a top defense, but once it got to playoff time, they stepped up, and they stepped up in a big way. I mean, they stopped the Chiefs. They held the Chiefs to a score that made the game winnable for Joe Burrow and his offense, and that is why they won. They played complementary football, but they are not a top defense in this league by any means when it comes down to just pure talent and regular season play. I definitely would have liked to see them try to go out and pick somebody up. There was a lot of player movement this year. They definitely could have scraped somebody off the top, or maybe filled in some holes along the line, but add some depth. But again, it was good enough to get into the Super Bowl last year and to complement Joe Burrow's amazing offense. So we will see. We don't really know for sure. We'll get to see some of that in week 1. But I just thought their offseason left a little to be desired on the defensive side of the ball. That's really all I have to say about the Bengals. So, sitting at number 4, I have the Chargers. Now, the Chargers got a lot better this year, man. They were a good team last year, but they did not have the defense to really bring them deep into the playoffs. So what did they do? They fixed that. They brought in J.C. Jackson, one of the best cornerbacks in the entire league. Dude is a bullet. He's extremely fast. They brought in Khalil Mack from the Bears, and Khalil Mack has been destroying offensive lines for years now. There's not much to be said about Khalil Mack. Dude's a monster. They filled in holes all along their defense. They bolstered up their linebacking groups, their defensive line groups. They didn't just sit at the 2 stars that they pulled in. No, they filled in depth. They made sure that their defense would be good this year. And their offense didn't need improvement. They brought back Mike Williams. They have Keenan Allen, Justin Herbert. Dude's in his going into his 3rd year now. He's going to be a top 5, top 10 quarterback in the league. Their offensive line was amazing last year. They did cut Brian Bulaga. That might come to bite them in the behind there, but other than that, Chargers look pretty good. They are going to be... There's a reason why they're sitting at number 4 on my list. I think anybody in this league can compete with the Bills. It's probably the Chargers and the Broncos, honestly. You know, the AFC West is stacked this year, and there's a reason why I have 4 AFC West teams in my top 10 teams on my power ranking. And these guys sit at the top. They sit behind the Broncos, but I don't know. It's kind of been a personal debate of mine of who's really better out of... The only reason I have the Chargers at number 4 right now is because I think they need to prove themselves on the field. The Bengals proved themselves on the field last year, so they get to sit ahead. And they proved themselves, and they actually got better. So that's why the Bengals are so high. And the Broncos, I mean, I understand why it's a bit of a long shot, but I mean, hey, that roster is stellar, and Russell Wilson is getting another chance. So, but yeah. I'm going to move on down my list over to number 5. And sitting at number 5 is now my first NFC team on this list so far, since the Rams have moved down to number 6, which is surprising, a little disappointing. I'm really hoping to see some competition in the Super Bowl this year, so I hope some team steps up from the NFC to challenge whoever ends up winning the AFC championship. The AFC championship might really be the real Super Bowl this year, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, I got the Bucs at number 6. Now the Bucs, their biggest achievement this offseason was being able to bring Tom Brady back. Bringing Tom Brady back, they get another year to run it back. Last year was a disappointment, but hopefully they don't get an early round exit again. They traded for Shaq Mason. They lost a couple pieces on their O-line, so bringing in Shaq Mason was a very good move. He's a very good offensive lineman. They are honestly one full season removed from winning the Super Bowl against a stacked Kansas City Chiefs team. So we don't really know why last season was so disappointing. I mean, maybe Tom Brady's game has taken a step back. The dude is 45 now. Tom Brady is 45 years old, still one of the best quarterbacks in the whole league. But he might be taking a bit of a step back. But they are still the Bucs, you know. They do have one of the best offensive lines in football. They got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin in one of the best wide receiver duos in football. You know, they've always had a running game, an effective running game. Leonard Fournette is a great running back. Was amazing in college. He's getting it done in the NFL. Him playing along Tom Brady is it's a very complimentary duo there. You know, they've had a top tier defense for the past few years, even back when Jameis Winston was there. Defense hasn't gotten any worse. You know, they had a solid draft this year. Re-signed all their core pieces. A lot of big re-signings last year, this off season, and I just gotta say they're coming back. They're running it back, and hopefully this season their postseason goes better than it does, because they are still an NFC juggernaut. They might have cooled off late in the season last year, and that's probably what hurt them going into the playoffs. And we have seen Tom Brady's led teams do that before, but we really don't know what went on with them last year, and I believe in them. They're going to be a good team, and I just hope that somebody comes up out of the NFC to challenge whoever wins the AFC. So, yeah. And that should wrap up this video for right now. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate every single viewer I can get, so see you in the next one.